Yes. And I know from reading the book that the history, she is not kidding folks when she says she brings history to life. I am not a history fan. I fell in love with all the little details she put in. So very good job. All right, Marie, are you ready for your first question?
I am.
All right. Marie just released California Trail Discovered, and by the second day of its release, it reached Amazon's #1 slot.
There we go.
It's so cool that he really is a historical character.
Yeah, so James Savage is a historical character. He travels west on a wagon train in 1846, takes Daniel with him because Daniel and Daniel's stepsister are his guardians. On the way, all he wants to do, he's frustrated, all he wants to do is get back to Illinois and find out who murdered his parents, but he has to take care of his little stepsister, and he's only 13, so he has to go with Jim all the way to California. The wagon train, his wagon train actually is joined by the Donner Party in 1846. So he, in the book, becomes friends with the historical character Virginia Reed. She's 12, but he doesn't want friends. Again, all he wants to get back is to get back to Illinois. And so together they experience the tragedies, triumphs, and trials of the trail. And he doesn't know if he's ever going to get back to Illinois or if he's going to survive this trail. So that's what it is in a nutshell.
All right, I have a second question for you. Why did you pick this genre? I mean, what drives your vision for this?
Good. What really drives it is, let's see, I'll pop this up here. I love middle grade students. I taught 6th grade for over 15 years, social studies, language arts, band, choir, and I just love these kids. For one thing, they get my humor. They laugh at my jokes. So, what's not to like about that? They love learning. They haven't gotten so, tainted yet that they still think learning is fun. So that's why I love this age group. And I want to bring history to life for them. That's the hallmark of my writing is historical fiction, but I bring real characters into the story, real settings, so that you have the fiction to entertain the students, but you also have the history and the actual characters so that they're engaged in the real world at the same time.
I love that. I love that, Marie. Thank you.
Yeah.
I know. And it's so hard sometimes because like I said, when I started reading it, just knowing that these things really happen piqued my even more. So I can only imagine what it would do for kids. I have another question for you. Let's see. STEAM has been a hot topic lately. Educators clamor for books that have direct STEAM tie-ins. In case our listeners aren't familiar with STEAM, what does that acronym stand for? S.T.E.A.M.
STEAM, right. At first it was STEM, and it meant science, technology, engineering, and math. Businesses years ago were frustrated that they were getting people into the job market that didn't have STEM skills, and they needed these for the business world. So they met with educational leaders and urged education to incorporate STEM into the curriculum. Well, now we've also added the A, so we have STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, and math. Teachers are expected to add these components into the curriculum they already have. And yet, if you know a teacher, you know how hard it is to even just manage to squeeze in all of your standards, much less add these STEAM components into whatever it is. You're teaching language arts, but you have to add math. That was really hard for me. So that's why I decided to write a historical fiction book teachers could use in the classroom, homeschoolers could use, students could read who want extra activities. I add the STEAM links at the end of each chapter so that a reader or a teacher could go on these links and have ready-made lessons that relate to that chapter that deal with the S.T.E.A.M. components.
Gosh, that is so handy to have those links. You make it so easy. You're right. As a teacher, I'm a teacher.
Right.
It is even to reach the peak. Okay, so I know that you've made it easily accessible. What types of activities do you include? Just
Yeah.
what kind of things can they do? Also, I might put my dog down. Oh yeah, it's still warning.
The links would take the reader or the teacher, for one thing, to the lesson plans, laying out how to do things. One of the most fun projects is in the beginning. This way. In the beginning, they students, I have it designed so that they can work together in teams to build a replica of a wagon. And as they do this, the teacher has instructions that, again, they have to do first a drawing to sketch out how are they going to do the wheels, how are they going to do the different components. And it all relates to what's called an engineering design process. Again, that's all explained in the lesson plans for the teacher, how to introduce the students to this whole process. But this is one of the projects that they would work on, creating this wagon as a group. There's also, let me show you this here real quick. The teacher has tools where they can, this is the engineering design process. So as they create the wagon, they have to go through this process with the teacher. My idea is you'd read a chapter in the book together as a class, and then you'd go to the first steps in the engineering design process and have time to work on your wagon. And then you keep alternating every day, continuing until you finish your wagon and go through all these steps. I created some what I call job cards for the teacher. So again, there's everything the teacher needs would be right there at her fingertips to get the kids to work in groups or whatever needs to be done during those lessons. Let me show that again. This was Lori's suggestion, actually, so that the teacher has these ready-made tools to do the lessons.
I love that so much. And that picture you put up, oh my goodness, that wagon. Man, I can see kids loving that. That is very cool. All right, my next question for you is, I heard that you actually played some live music on another launch party you did last week.
Yes.
So what was that about?
Yes. That actually relates to one of the other projects near the end of the book. Let's see if I had myself. The cool thing about the ebook, by the way, if you have a teacher that teaches fourth grade, which is when they do westward expansion, in the ebook, the S.T.E.A.M lessons are hot links. So a teacher can be reading the ebook and then immediately go to the lessons that are available online.
I'm happy about that because I'm a teacher and I see the ebook. Are you ready for another question, Marie?
Yes, I am ready. What's next?
Okay. You mentioned one of your teaching mantras was, or has always been, really, it's a sense of for a student,
Right.
and that you enjoy injecting humor into your teaching and writing. Now, I happen to know that you've included some fun activities for us in the watch party. Maybe we can have listeners check out the first one.
Okay.
Hopefully it'll work. A jigsaw puzzle of the cover, which you've shown times. Is there a prize for the fastest person who can put the pieces together?
Yes, there is. You could go to the link. I'm going to go ahead and give you the link right now.
I can put it in comments.
And yeah, if you could do that, it'll be here on the screen. And yeah, if you put it in the comments, then people could just copy and paste it. And then it'll be a hot link. I mean, it'll be a hot link in the chat, so you can just click on it in the chat. Yeah, so go ahead and type that in for me. And if you go to that link, hit play, and then start. And don't hit play till I say go. We'll make it fair. Everybody start at the same time. When I say go, click the, have the link, hit it, hit play, then hit start. So is everybody ready? Is the link showing? Give me a few more seconds in case everybody else hasn't done it yet. And again, post the time here in the chat, if you would. You can copy and paste from the game. Post your time in the chat. How many seconds did it take to put the puzzle together? It shows you that in the puzzle itself. And then just post that here in the chat. And that should take care of it. Okay, I'm ready.
Now, I heard that you and your husband took a trip along the Oregon Trail this past August in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah,
Right. About that?
Yeah, you're right. In the middle of a pandemic, we were a little worried about it, but we came back fine, and it was so much fun. So we went to all these different places on the Oregon Trail, from actually Independence, where they all left, and then all the way to Fort Bridger. We stopped there. We didn't make it all the way to California because I've already been there. We only went to Fort Bridger. So, for example, the first place we stopped after Independence was Alcove Springs. And what I did is made a matching game where I have the maps with each. This is slide one. Then you go to the next map. It'll be 2, 3, 4 along the trail. And I added a picture of myself and my husband at that spot. So in the matching game, you have to put the two together. Here's a tiny URL if people want that as well. So this is what the puzzle looks like. Here are the maps, and they have numbers on them. So put the maps in order, 1, 2, 3, down the left side. And then once you get the maps in order, then, like, I'll give you a clue. This one right here, these are the ruts, the Guernsey ruts. So then that would match Guernsey ruts one on the map, wherever that would go. And so my very favorite place, which is called Parting of the Ways. Let me show that. One group of people on the wagon train would head off north, taking them to Fort Hall to the Oregon country. The other group, which is Daniel's group and the Donner Party, at this Parting of the Ways, they went left, which took them west and then south to Fort Bridger, where they would eventually pick up the trail that goes to California. So this is a critical, I get goosebumps right now just talking about it, a critical juncture that you can still see today. And so I was able legally to pick up stones on the other side of this barbed wire fence. I was able to pick up stones that are right from that spot, and I've made boxes for them. No, I didn't make the box, I bought the box. I've polished those rocks, and I'm going to mail you a box with that rock in it from that location. And especially if you do know a middle school student, I know I would have loved something like this as a kid, to have this memento from an actual historic place. Here's a picture of what they look like. So I'll give you the box and 1 or 2 rocks from right there, the Parting of the Ways. So either for yourself or a Christmas present or someone you know. That's the final game that I had prepared for you.
Oh, I love that. Oh, yeah, I love those rocks. They are very, very cool. All right, now, gosh, you've given us so many cool things to look at and to think about and play. I've already picked up my copy. I love the cover. I posted the cover on my Instagram page to advertise your book. It's gorgeous.
I just found you. Lori. Hey everybody, this is my friend Lori. She's a writer, wonderful, amazing writer.
And how can they get a copy of your book? Does it come in ebook or paperback, or how can they get a copy?
Oh, okay. Yes, it's paperback. Right now, the easiest way is to get it on Amazon. Just go to type in California Trail Discovered. It also comes in ebook on Amazon. You will, especially for schools, if they want to buy it in bulk for those classroom set, you can get it through the publisher at a bulk rate.
Yeah, I might be talking to some of the teachers at my school, because I think our fifth grade might study a little bit of that.
Oh, have I started the sequel yet? I see that now. Yes, actually, and Lori and a few others are helping me polish that one up. So that one, I can't guess, but I'm hoping within a year, book 2 should be out. It's written, it's done, but it definitely needs some polishing yet. So I'm just so grateful for the writer friends that I have here that are helping me do that. Good question. It's called Yosemite Trail Discovered, by the way. Daniel is going to be a few years older in book 2, so it's more for a young adult reading audience. And Daniel is he's 17 at this point in book 2, and he and Jim are running trading posts in the gold country. And so they meet up with good and bad Indians, good and bad whites, and they have to figure out how are they going to deal with all this drama that they have with the Indians and the gold diggers and the Californians all fighting each other. And eventually they discover the Yosemite Trail. They become, James Savage was the very first white to lead a battalion into Yosemite to find the trail for where the Ahwahnechee Indians lived. They were actually very fierce tribe, the Ahwahnechee. The Indians that were living in the gold country were afraid of them because they were very violent, and they attacked the gold miners that were even like 50 miles away. They hadn't gotten into Yosemite, but once they started attacking them, they had to go in and try and deal with them. And so Jim was the first white to actually find that Yosemite Trail. But yeah, did you see Kathy just popped in with one other question? You got 2 minutes for that?
She said, what got you interested in this part of history in the first place? That's a good question.
Yeah, I kind of worked backwards. Book 2 was really book 1 in the beginning because I had gone with my kids to Yosemite several years ago. And the thought hit me, I wonder who the first whites were that went into Yosemite. Did the Indians show them where it was? How did that happen? I'd never heard that story. And so that led me to research James Savage. And then researching James Savage, I thought, how would I do a story about that? He's historical. How could I bring a fictional teen or tween alongside him, which gave me the idea of The Orphan in Illinois, where Jim started from anyway. But that was too much information for one book, so it got divided into 2 books. Now book 1 is out, the kind of the prequel of that, and then book 2. So that's how, well, asking questions, going somewhere, seeing a historical place, and wondering, how did that happen? I forgot I was going to show this for the grand prize winner. For those who may not know, book 1 that I first came out with was The Bronze Dagger. It's part of a set called The Ancient Elements. This is set in ancient Mesopotamia, which relates to 6th grade social studies, and at least in California. Book 2 of that is The Alabaster Jar, where the character now goes to Egypt and has adventures. And then book 3, The Silver Coin, the characters in the book go to ancient Crete and Phoenicia and can finally wrap up their adventures. And whenever I go to schools, I ask the kids, why do you think it's called Ancient Elements? And eventually some of them can figure it out, that each book is around in elements in the sites, periodic tables. We talked about how bronze is tin and copper, the elements that go into each one, calcium with the alabaster jar, and of course silver. So there's a science tie-in there as well. So that's the Ancient Elements series. And then my second series is starting with book 1, Rising Hope. It's about, this one's young adult, the other one's for middle grade. Young adult, where it talks about the Polish Boy Scouts and Girl Guides in World War II, and again has historical figures with fictional figures in this book. And I'm going to be starting book 2 on that eventually, but that hasn't come about yet. All right. Well,
Can you think of anything else?
I think that's it. That's all I wanted to share with you. Thanks for everyone for taking time out of your day to make this more fun and more special, especially for you, Lori.
Well, I'm very excited for you, and congratulations.
Thank you very much. All right. Adios from Texas. Thanks, Lori.
See you then.